This call is now being recorded.
All right. Hello there, everybody. This is the Master Blaster Podcasters. We got a big one today. We're going to do an episode, sort of the news of the day episode, which we did before. This one is going to be heavily, though, political. The current war going on between Hamas and Israel. Very little, probably, entertainment news. Not much really going on, but we'll see what we can fit in there. Dirty, we got Dirty, of course, as always. How you doing, man?
Good. Well, okay. A lot of deep shit going on, so.
Yeah, I know. As we follow this, it's a daily. Right now, there's 900 Israelis dead and 700 Hamas or Palestinians dead. So let's just get into this. We're going to talk about this, of course, for a while. After that, we will shift towards what's going on with Donald Trump right now in America with his legal battles. We'll finish up with the Speaker of the House, Kevin McCarthy, being ousted. The first time in the history of the United States that a Speaker of the House has been ousted. So let's start off with the war. Dirty, we got obviously an attack by Hamas, which is, from what I understand, I mean, there's the state of Palestine. Hamas is a major military force and actually a political force, too. It's almost like a political party within Palestine. Although I guess we could say that because the attack is happening from Hamas, that the whole state would be most likely involved with this, of Palestine. And to my understanding, there's freedom fighters from Hamas that are trying to release some refugee war criminals, I guess, that are being held captive in Israel currently. Lots of violence, lots of horrible news of women and children dying, militant Hamas military representatives going in and beheading people, and it's already a bloody massacre. Let's start here. What do you got of what's going on so far, and what's your opinion of this?
Well, it's a shit show, but it's one of those situations where it's like the Palestinians they've been oppressed by the Israelis for years. I mean, I'm learning more and more that the Israelis, like every government, every leader or whatever, they've always had this policy where they want to take over the entire land, and they just they control everything, water, food. Like there's a wall around it. There's like 5 entranceways. It's a whole process. The Israelis have nukes. The Palestinians aren't allowed to have anything. And from what I understand, Hamas isn't like the people's first choice, but they have no other. They don't have a military, and it's like they lately it's been this Zionist settler situation where like Zionist Jews will go in and they'll take people's homes, and they do it. And a lot of them are Americans too, which is really disgusting. And they have, like, you'll see if you look it up, they have like, what do you call it? Like they have mounted auto machine guns with laser sighting, and they'll randomly go and shoot people. There's snipers mounted in random places. They're shooting Israelis, shooting innocent Palestinian, people, children, women, men. It's been going on for a while, but lately it's been ramped up. And there's a famous video of this fat motherfucker he sounds like he's from New York, and he said this woman's like, tell him to leave her house, and he's like, no, it's I'm gonna do it. If I don't do it, somebody else will. And this flagrant like racist attitude. And the Israelis have always had this. They've always had this sickening attitude towards the Palestinians. And, you know, it's like, the way I look at it is like Israel is like, they're like the white people of the Middle East. They get supported by everybody. They have, you know, they're always touted as the only democratic society in the Middle East. And it's, you know, we fund them like billions of dollars every fucking year. I don't know why. Like, they can make, you know, they can fund themselves. We gave them the Iron Dome. Well, you know, Gaza and the West Bank are just shitholes because it's like they're not allowed to develop. That, you know, the Israelis have control over like the whole situation. Bibi Netanyahu's far right party, they're fucking horrible. They're just evil. And it's like, there's a quote. You can't totally quote me, but if you look it up, Netanyahu makes this joke where Hitler was influenced to kill Jewish people by a Muslim. And I'm not doing a good job quoting that, but basically, like, you know, there's this, he's just a nasty person. And his son, who fucking is a far right douchebag, he's been, you know, I looked him up and he plays around with Nazism. There's a lot of far right Israelis that like, and even Jewish people in America who are connected to far right Nazi groups or fascist groups. It's this whole thing, and you know, I'm not happy with this at all, and I'm disgusted that the United States is supporting Israel right now during all this, and it's like they're throwing turds on the fire. It's like we don't need to be involved in anything right now. Like, we need to just fucking leave shit alone. It's not our job. Like, Israel is like this little puppy, and the United States is a big dog, and Israel is always bound. And I'm not talking about the people. I'm talking about the government. It's always yapping like in that cartoon where the little dog is yapping at the big dog. Come on, boss, come on. It's like we can't do that anymore. Every president that's been in office, Republican or Democrat, has always just gone through and supported Israel. And it's just like, you know, I know these other countries in the Middle East aren't perfect, but damn, when the United States gets involved with them, they get destroyed. And it's like, you know, so I'm not happy. I think it's a shit show, and I've been watching hard on, you know, a lot of the news. And even the news I'm disappointed with. They go straight for the side of no sympathy for the Palestinians, but all sympathy for the Israelis. And I understand that, you know, and I sympathize with the Israeli people and the victims. But this is ugly. And when you have no other choice and you're being oppressed, you have no other choice. You're gonna fight, because it's like, what else do you have to lose? So
the major thing, that's a good intro. That, you know, what I've always wondered about the situation, and I studied this briefly back in college. And I tried to do a little research on the history of the relationship in that land between the two groups, and without, you know, you and I have other things going on besides this podcast, so I can't get into writing a thesis about it as far as doing that much studying. But you can go back. The Jews, obviously, there's been holy wars going on there for years. It basically involves religion. And if you go back, the Holy Land there, Jerusalem, obviously, is supposedly where Christ is from, and this is where the Jews lay as their holy land in their religion. And granted, we're not going to get this perfect. We're trying to do as much research in a short amount of time as possible to give an outline to this war. If you find anything that are that are incorrect, please let us know. You can always contact us. We will mention it in a future podcast if there's something that needs to be corrected. Unfortunately, we don't have this is not a live show, so we can't take live emails or anything like that, or messages to correct ourselves. But from the research that's been done, it's the Jews obviously have been displaced all around the world. They've been slaves. They've been shifted in different areas, and they've had to migrate because of being slaves and being held captive, and then just trying to settle wherever they could. They really haven't had one area to be their home, their state, their country. British colonists, as far as I know, in 1917 went into this little area, went into an area in around Jerusalem, and basically colonized and created a little area for Jews to settle there. Besides, I'm not sure if they were also using them as workers, or Britain was doing that all around the world, colonizing, using people as workers for whatever their thing was. We know they were in South Africa, diamond mining, and some other places. So that was the beginning of this. If you go obviously to World War II, people were sending Jews all over the world. You want them? No, I don't want them. You want them? Send them here. Germany sent them to us. We sent them back. So now we can't take them in. Well, after World War II was over, America decided in 1948 to create a state of Israel. And what they did is they put them right there in Palestine. Within 20 years, the Jewish people, Israel, had taken over the Gaza Strip and the West Bank, which are the two areas that are at the heart of the religious background of these two peoples, we'll say. Now, what happened, of course, of what I know, is that when the Britons first put them in there, obviously the Israelites it wasn't Israel yet, but the Jewish people had the backing of the British colonial empire to a certain extent. After World War II, of course, besides the European Union and America, that's a lot of countries that are on your side as far as they put them in there. Say let's give them a place that's near their Holy Land. They of course had the backing from America and from the European Union. Obviously, a part of that, the intent is good to give them an area where they could settle. But of all the places, putting them next to a group of severely religious peoples as well, it's ripe for conflict. You have two severely religious people that have been around for a long time that think that this area is theirs, and technically Palestine, without being a state or country, had inhabited that area. What happened eventually with the backing of America and Europe and everyone else, when I learned, the Palestinians basically turned into, I wouldn't say they're slaves, but they were the Jewish people had all the money and all the backing, and they were getting money from the European Union and America to help rebuild themselves. And they took that money and basically took a lot of the homes, and basically a lot of Palestinians were their servants. And a lot of it basically disrupted everything about their life. And this, of course, is a huge basis of the conflict that's happened. And since then, it's been nothing but constant wars all the time. So I don't understand how you could put two groups like that right next to each other and expect them to exist peacefully, especially when one obviously has backing from some very powerful countries. Like you said, there's nobody really backing up Palestine. There's nobody representing them. It's very hard. Their word is not really getting out there, probably, of why they're acting the way they are. Now, let me say this. I don't believe in killing for religion. But when it comes down to the fact that you have no way to live besides being a servant, and you have very little means of education and how to get out of this type of situation if you want to. I'm not saying there's zero chance to get out, but where are they going to go? Where are they going to, what part of the world speaks the language and is set up business-wise for them to give them careers so they can live a fulfilled life, which every human being wants to do. Nobody wants to be a servant. So I'm trying to think of some other ways to go into this. Now, obviously, I don't condone. It's easy for me to sit here and say I don't condone an attack. When I hear about the beheadings and all of the people, women, children, and human beings, I mean, men are human beings too, dying in the slaughter, it is disgusting. Because the perpetrators of this, either the military leaders, they're not, these are all the citizens and civilians that are getting killed so far. Um, well, what else do you have to say on the matter as far as any of this, the past conflict, how the countries are set up? I mean, what are we going to do moving forward? How is this ever going to change?
Well, we got to stop supporting Israel. Like, the United States has to stop supporting Israel. Like, for the past, like, 2 years, recently, okay, so we looked at Ukraine, we supported them, now we're supporting Ukraine and, trying to get other countries to support Ukraine with weapons and this and that. But on the other hand, you go across the world and then you look at Palestine and it's like you have literally all the time Israeli military and cops harassing, killing, raping, kidnapping Israeli cops and military kidnapping, raping, and torturing in a lot of ways the Palestinians. I don't think they should have nukes. I don't even understand why they have nukes. Who are they going to nuke? Because if they nuke Palestine, they're done for. The same thing with I saw somebody, commented, well, India should nuke Pakistan. That would, they would affect India and Pakistan. It's like you can't, nukes are like a big mistake. So it's like there's all this power and it's like, Israel, the government needs their balls cut. Like they need their power like chopped. It's horrible. We don't recognize the Palestinians. I mean, they get tortured and fucked with all the fucking time. It's not hidden. It's on the news, man. If you look at social media, it's like you have people there reporting like how they're living, and it's horrible. And I don't know why we don't recognize that. I don't know why it takes like for people to do drastic things and then you go, oh, well, there's a problem. There's always been a problem, and the United States just turns a blind eye. And it's as an American, it's like, what are you doing? Like, this isn't cool at all. You have people that constantly reference World War II, and we fought, but even then, if you look at not to dwell off, but like, if you look at then, America wasn't dealing with anti-Semitism and fascism before World War II until the Japanese attacked us. So it's like, I don't know what it takes for the United States to really wake up. Like, Biden's just made a huge mistake taking sides and supporting Israel immediately. It's like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. And the same thing I believe with Germany as well. But cut their balls, man. Cut that funding. We could use that funding,
Yeah, and the thing is that when I said before about with Palestinians, like nobody wants to be someone else's servant, I'm not sure what type of industries they have there, what kind of work, how people buy it, what kind of technology do they have. I know that Israel was helped because when we helped set them up in 1948, we did kind of westernize them a little bit. They took our government. I mean, there is a difference of Palestine is an authoritarian rule. There haven't been elections there in 15 years. They have human rights atrocities, abuses against activists and journalists that come out and try to say maybe they should be more of a westernized nation to create more prosperity so that people have jobs and lifestyles equivalent to that they're supposedly fighting for. So, I mean, if America goes in there, either we lay off and don't do anything, or if any peace solution is going to try to be attempted, what are you going to do? I mean, one area is still going to have a lot more money than the other area. I mean, I'm not saying Palestine should westernize, which is what America has been accused of doing in the past, going in and they were doing it for more political reasons as far as trying to tear down communism and build up democracy. So anywhere they can go into where there's a little loophole for them to go in to set up, which is a good, I mean, look, democracy is better than communism, at least in its current forms. We talk about systems of checks and balances and checks of power and there's technically 3 branches of government in Israel. And usually when you have a more westernized type of a setup, depending on the amount of underground groups which can basically abuse power, hopefully you're having less things like under authoritarian rule when you do like we see in Russia where they crush all of the journalists and activists that try to get their voices out there.
Right.
But at the same time, I mean, do we let a nation like that, not a nation, but do we let a state like that be and say, you know, good luck to you? Or do we give them an option of saying, look, would you like some help without changing your whole state around? Let's see what your people think. Would they want to have different types of technologies that are set up by different countries of the world that have ways and means to create jobs through more modern resources? And is that something that would make them happier? Do they want to live old style, like off the grid? And that's the thing is, I don't really know too much about their state, about how they make their money, what options do the people really have?
Well, actually, they're not allowed to have any. They're pretty modern. I mean, it's not like they're indigenous to the country, but they're not running around, you know, on horseback all the time. They're not allowed to have anything to grow. So it's like if you leave them alone, like we shouldn't do anything. The United States needs to butt the fuck out. Like it's their country or their state. You know, the reason Israel is more advanced and has a whole system. And by the way, like Israel kills journalists too. They blew up an Al Jazeera office. They've blown up several, you know, press offices and other things. They're just as bad, but it's not our problem. First of all. Secondly, stop funding Israel. Third, call out Israel. You know, if you want to stereotype people in general from the Middle East, all, you know, Iraq, Iran, all of them, you could stereotype like, well, gosh darn, they have lots of degrees, because a lot of people are very well educated. They just live in a shitty environment. You know, the Israelis are sitting there messing with their water. They fuck with their food. Like they have like 10% drinking water. You know, they control like the entire situation. And the United States doesn't let it happen. If anything, the United States should step into Israel and be like, you're done. Like, stop. Like, you're done. No more.
It does seem like they can stand on their own 2 feet as far as
they can.
We've just been a partner with them for so long because it's
right.
The lone sort of democratic state amongst all of these authoritarian ruled other states around
right.
it. I think that's why we constantly, you know, and, you know, some of it is maybe, I don't know how much of a responsibility that the country that we feel, as opposed to what I said previously. But yeah,
it is not our responsibility.
Maybe America should try a more hands-off approach to what's going on around the world. It's one thing if they're getting attacked by like Russia. I mean, there's certain countries that I don't want them to expand. I don't want North Korea to expand. I don't want Russia to expand. I don't necessarily want China to expand. I mean, I just look. I think we can come to a point where we say, at this point, all the things I was mentioning earlier, systems of checks and balance of power is better than authoritarian rule. Having rights, having civilian rights when it comes to women and minorities and things like that's better than just one person ruling everything. So I mean, that's why I don't want to see the spread of these tyrannical leaders that want to take over the world. Really, I mean, I don't want to see them expand. And it comes out that Russia has been supplying weapons to Hamas, not because they feel for them, really. It's because they're trying to plant it on the Ukraine because they've stolen some weapons from Ukraine. They're giving them Ukrainian weapons and trying to say, hey, look, that Ukraine is supplying Hamas with all these weapons because they want the U.S. to stop supplying money to the Ukraine in their fight against Russia. I don't know. I guess I don't have much more to say about it, except that, that's exactly what it is. So,
go ahead.
Well, sorry.
No, we need to put the fuck out. Like, the United States is not in any place, shape, or form. Like, my thing is the United States needs to butt out of everybody's business. Let people just grow and prosper. If you look at the history of what the CIA has done, back to World War II, after World War II, it's the United States that caused, Korea to split, and that's why they have issues with the United States. If you look at, the Middle East was, in general, there's a lot of these countries, they were pretty advanced, but the CIA didn't like that, so they put in their own stooge and made these countries super ultra religious. So it's like, I just feel like the United States is done. Like, we don't need to be butting into anybody's fucking business. Like, we're in no shape to be talking and telling people how to do shit when we have people starving and dying in our own country, and with poverty and illiteracy and, over militarization and this and that. Like, no, they'll figure it out. Like, the companies will develop and, prosper, but it's going to be hard in Palestine when you have one country that just won't let it happen and want to oppress everybody, and their main goal is to take over, and if they had their way, they would fucking commit genocide and wipe these people out. And it's like, no, we're done, man. I'm tired of, like, the United States having to intervene with everything, and it's never a success. It makes things worse when we get in there. It's like you go in and it starts out as a small thing. The United States ends up going in and it turns into this big hornet's nest of shit, and it's done. You look at Iraq. Iraq is done for. It was prosperous. It had fucking universities before. Like, just because we don't like the way a country is being done or run, doesn't mean we have the right to go in and affect shit. I mean, if that was the case, then people would have come in and attacked us, But it's like the United States has always been this paranoid country since what, the 30s, and always have had to interfere with everybody's business, and then it makes things worse. It's just, it's fucked up.
Yeah, what I meant, I think, mostly by is there anything we can do, is that if part of the problem was set up by outside countries, is there a solution that outside countries can offer to kind of fix some of the screw-ups that have created this horrible setup in the first place? But as of right now, if we just say, we're done. I mean, we're always helping Israel anyway. But if we just say we're done, as of right now, Israel, I think, has a major advantage over Palestine. So, anyway, I guess we'll see where that goes. Maybe we'll do another one of these in a couple of weeks and see where that horrible war is going. Okay, so let's go on to the second topic we have. Anytime we do anything about the news, there's going to be plenty about Trump.
Yeah, that's all the news.
I almost don't like to say his name. I almost want to give him like a nickname, like
the Dumper.
The Dumper. Yeah, I like the Skunk because he stinks. Anyway. I could go on and on with insults about him, but to get on to some facts. Obviously, we know the 4 different indictments that he has. I'm going to talk about one of them. Dirty, if you want to get involved with this, and also if you want to go out and talk about any of the other indictments or any other Trump news, feel free. But I knew this was a problem when, first of all, he was able to name a lot of judges in his time, not to mention the Supreme Court additions there were a horrible thing for Democrats. I mean, they're not representative of the people. I mean, there are 6 Supreme Court judges that are wholly Catholic, I believe, and it's, look, that's 6-3. It's like 70%. It's like 70% of the country is not Catholic. So that's not. I just don't think that's a proper. And I do believe that they're obviously with the Roe versus Wade reversal, they're obviously putting in their personal religious beliefs into. And you don't have to be religious into the Supreme Court. I'm just saying you don't have to be religious to have an opinion about that. I'm not saying that, but basically they lied and said when they went before the panel who was going to anoint them, say no, we don't want to get involved in certain things. We don't want to get involved in Roe versus Wade, and we don't want to get lots of different things that their religion would sway them one way or the other, which has obviously not been true. And with the Trump judges that he appointed, this Eileen Cannon, who was in charge of the Trump documents case, is an astounding moron. She's been corrected with the most basic things. She's never, ever run or presided over a criminal case ever in the history. She's barely done any cases at all. She has very little courtroom experience. And what case did they give her? They give her one involving the ex-president of the fucking United States, hoarding documents. And now we find out not only is she slow rolling this case to try to make it so that it's not until the next election, which, by the way, wouldn't you want to know if he's fucking guilty enough before you vote for him? Besides, I mean, obviously he's guilty. I don't give a fuck. Fuck that shit. He's guilty. You know, innocent until proven guilty. He's been guilty his whole fucking life. And then to hear that people that he has been sharing the documents with, one of them being an Australian billionaire.
Yeah, what's up with this guy?
Many other people. He needs to be put in jail. Who knows how many, does he still have any documents left? Who else is he going to show them to?
Right.
What do you think?
Well, I think it's funny, like, this guy's running around threatening a judge and shit, and he sold secrets, man, nuclear secrets. I thought that was the big one. Chelsea Manning and all these other people during the Obama years were sent to prison for like 5 or 6 years. Was that one chick there was one chick who was a soldier. There was a kid recently, a 20-year-old Air Force kid, was showing off, an all-right kid, showing off to her friends. He went to prison. That kid, who was that guy, Bankman-Fried? Or that guy he went in prison. He's done way less. A lot of these people have done way less. And it's like, this guy he fucking, like, just, you know, shows off and shows nuclear secrets. He's telling Duterte and fucking the Philippines, yeah, we got subs. It's like, dude, what the fuck? What does it take? I guess you can literally, if you want to talk about privilege, this guy is the most privileged human being on earth. Because anybody else would be done and in prison. This guy can fucking run his mouth, and you find more and more shit that he's done. This guy they're right. When they say Trump did a lot, he did do a lot. Like, it's amazing how much shit he got, like, he fucking did while he was in office. It's like, that guy, once he got in behind in the Oval Office, it was like, that was it, man. Everything was, like, out in the open, and he fucking gave it up.
You know what's ironic, too, is that when he got into office, one of the first things he did is pass a law actually making the law tougher on people that
whistleblowers.
The people that take documents, illegally take documents and either hoard them or get caught with them, showing them to other people. He said, "This is absolutely. I consider this treason. We have to make these laws much tougher."
You did that.
He's the one that went in there and said that at the beginning of his regime.
Right. He's the biggest hypocrite.
Yeah, it's hard to talk about him in any kind of a controlled way, I think, because he's really divided our country. He's basically shown the people on the right, let's not work with the Democrats at all, not with one thing. We'll get to the Speaker of the House. He actually came up with a resolution, a shitty one at that, to keep the government open, and that's the basis of why, we'll talk about that later, why he was ousted, because he worked with the Democrats at all. And I got to tell you what, to go back to the war that's happening right now, is there ever any instance in the future, because I don't see any, where the Republicans, if something happens, we have to unite as a country and go forward and say, you know what, let's give, like we did in 9/11, and say, well, let's give our faith and our respect to the president who's going to lead us through the best way they can, some sort of a horrible conflict, and let's try to unite and actually be a country for one time in however many years, and show support for each other. And let's go through it, and let's try to get this done, and let's be proud that we actually came up with a solution and executed it properly as a country. Immediately, as soon as the first bomb dropped, as soon as the first person was executed in this war, immediately everyone, Marjorie Taylor Greene, all these asshole fuckfaces, Biden. It's Biden's fault. It's Biden's fault.
Right.
He's to blame.
It's amazing.
He's blamed for everything. Every single fucking thing. Like, I don't want them representing the country at all. I mean, it's gone so far as the division between the right and the left that, I don't know, man. I sometimes feel like I hate to say it, I feel like I can't live in the same country with these people anymore. That's a horrible thing to say. We're much better united than divided, but we're divided. It's done. I'm wondering if we ever can unite again.
Yeah, I think we can. We just have to, I don't know how you do it, like, but once you get all these people out who are the hardliners, and then also there's got to be a lot more stronger Democrats too, like that don't. Chuck Schumer right now is already like, oh, pro-Israel and this and that. I just love how everybody jumps on it, and the Democrats go straight for like, they're pro-Israel, and it's just like, dude, are you serious? And so, yeah, it's a fucking mess. These people don't represent us. They don't represent the goodness, like, and it's frustrating, like, to see this shit. It's embarrassing, and I think we're at a point now where we're at a level of like we're equal to everybody else in the sense that like all our dirt is out. Nobody trusts us. I mean, speaking of, okay, you want to talk about them blaming Biden? Guess who gave up Israeli secrets? Trump.
Really?
Yeah. That just came out too. I was like, this guy, you can find Trump in every scenario, any bad scenario over the years. He's there. It's fucking creepy. It's like The Simpsons predicted it. Family Guy even did a prediction thing, or they've had episodes and mentioned them, and it's amazing. Like he for he's political, but before he's involved in so much shit and around the worst people, and yeah, I mean it's just I don't know, man. I think what's up?
Sorry, man. The difference is I just think violence, the acceptance of violence on one side. This is what they do in third world countries that are under authoritarian rule. And I think that the fact that you have so many people that are willing to push democracy to the side, that don't believe in voting, and I think I'm calling bullshit on a lot of Republicans saying that they just they don't know. They're just watching Fox News. They don't know what's going on. Bullshit. I think some of them inside their minds, they know that, there's a rally, there's a protest, and one side actually ran the car into the other side and murdered them. Well, that's okay because it's for our side. Russia actually helped Trump get into office. Well, that's okay. It's because it's for our side. Trump actually wants to make sure that all of the left-wing votes don't count. More than 60% of the country wants to make sure their votes don't count, and is willing to try to take over the government, the military. That's okay because it's for our side. I feel like I'm living in a country with terrorists. I feel like the right side is just loaded with terrorists that are willing to do anything at any cost, no matter what the ends justify the means, as long as the means is them being in power. And I just don't see where this is going to any type of a handshake deal as far as how can we get back to some sort of normalcy. I think that what needs to happen is that the leaders on the right, we see that as soon as the January 6th happened, they all came out and condemned it until time went by and they saw, geez, the constituents support Trump. They think it's okay. The voters actually still want to vote for him. Right. They think it's okay. So all of a sudden they do a flip, they do a 180 and they go back, no, it wasn't really a riot. It was just a peaceful gathering of people, and they try to start to, because they want to stay in office because there's so many voters on the right side, crazy ass fucking violent Americans that are okay with this, that want their leaders to lie and to use force to reverse democratic decisions and actions and
I agree. I think it's a generational thing. I don't know where we go
from here. We've really created this huge, horrible divide, and it just seems like there's two icebergs that are separated, and we're all just drifting apart.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Well, what else? Is there anything else as far as what's going on with Trump in the news? Again, it just seems it's never ending.
Well, you were talking about allowing stuff. So not only I saw this one report where not only did the Russians help, but also even more so, Bibi Netanyahu met with Trump January 4th, or was it January? No, even before that. The Russians were helping Trump, so were the Israelis too. Mossad was doing the same. They were helping and spreading misinformation, spying on people and this and that. So Trump is involved in the Israeli thing just as much. When he was in office, he went in and he sent Jared Kushner for no reason. This guy had no experience. Sent him in. He went in and helped the far right, Israelis, the Zionists, part of the government, push things like the embassy and all this. And so Trump's like I said, he's involved in everything. I don't know anymore, man. It's like the judges are so soft on this guy. They're afraid, well, I don't know if we put him in jail. I don't know. It's like, well, what else, dude? I mean, I thought this current guy would
enforce the laws.
I mean, it's like he talks so much shit in between when he's going, if he's not sitting in court during the fraud trial, he's walking out talking shit. Nobody can do that. Like you get thrown in fucking prison for that, or for jail, contempt of court. This guy just gets to flee off and whining about, I have to be here, I'd rather be there. And it's like, everything, the real frustrating thing is like, everything is a joke and a show to him. And it's like, the only positive thing is, it's just, people are starting to come out and, they're starting to snitch on him. And it's like showing that he's just a big, I mean, he there's evidence he's just a big fake rich guy. He's not even the real thing. And so, it's just, until they do something, man, I'm just tired of hearing about it. And, I'm tired of seeing his face, and it's like he's out. He's not behind bars. Like he should be, like put him in fucking prison.
Yeah, I'm tired of when I read editorials online about hypotheticals. Oh, he did it now. Oh, he did that. Oh, this is what could happen to him. It's like, shut the fuck up. Like unless we actually see him behind bars, I don't want to hear hypotheticals about what could happen because he broke this law and that law and another law. He just gets away with it over and over again. Yeah. And also too, about Netanyahu, I believe he is amassed a great amount of wealth from all the money he's given to them. What I heard is he's the second richest human being on earth besides Putin. For a tiny little state like that, that is ridiculous. All right, boy, was there anything else? I could have sworn there was something else about Trump.
Eric snitched on. He was in court today, and they found evidence that he's behind stuff for the Trump organization. They had Alan Weisselberg on. They showed his deposition. He showed that he doesn't know what he's talking about. Don Jr. doesn't know shit. Let's see. Everybody but like Ivanka, I don't think she's included in this. Tiffany's not included, and then of course the youngest kid, who I feel bad for, isn't included. But yeah, they're all pretty gross. What else?
Well, I know that with this case in New York, I mean, his business is going to be neutered. As far as business in New York, it's gonna they're going to take all the LLCCs and they're going to take Trump Tower and they're going to divide it up. And obviously, he was lying on all of these applications, inflating his to get all of the to get money, to get loans. He was inflating the value of properties for insurance. He was deflating the value. And he'll come out and say how he was so mad about not being on the Forbes list of the richest people.
Yeah.
And he's like, my property, that property is worth $1.5 billion, and it always goes up another couple $100 million every time he talks about it. At first it's worth $1 million, then it's 1.5, then it's $2 million. Oh, and then you see he's so stupid. He's coming out and saying this while they have insurance applications where he's saying that it's worth $750,000.
Yeah.
So it's like he's coming out, he's saying all his lies out front.
Right.
And look, I know that these cases look very bad for him, and with the amount of evidence against him, I mean, it doesn't look good. I mean, the only thing I don't know is if they're going to make sure to give him the sentences that he deserves. I wonder what types of sentences he'll get if found guilty. I think that's my last question. And to be honest with you, I don't want to hear any more about these cases as far as hypothetical bullshit until he's found guilty, and we'll see what kind of sentence he gets. Okay, what do you say? Let's talk about the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Kevin McCarthy, getting voted out, mostly by Democrats, but there was 8 Republicans that agreed with the Democrats. It was, of course, headed by Matt Gaetz, who started this, this process to try to get him out. The only thing I can think of, the only thing that's presented is that he worked with the Democrats to pass the last bill to keep the government alive, I guess for maybe it's just another month or so. They're extremely displeased about him not putting more money into the border for border control. Well, they've gotten so much as far as, I know that his whole thing about they completely deflated this whole thing about trying to get some of the college loans taken back as far as paying for that, so some of them don't have to be paid for.
Right.
And many other things, of course, that the Democrats will continue to try to work with them on. Anyway, and of course, at first they say, Trump, hey, let's make Trump Speaker of the House. Then Jim Jordan, fucking rat weasel douchebag.
Oh, that guy. He's a piece of shit.
Of the Judiciary Committee is like, oh, yeah, I guess I'd be happy to do it.
He sounds like he bumps a line of coke every time he speaks. Man. It's crazy.
We mentioned we mentioned the whole Ohio State case here, right? Previously.
He's a creeper. He watched everything and didn't do anything about it. Well, these young boys were being
upwards of almost 300 students at Ohio State.
My God,
were somehow sexually molested in one way or the other by the doctor, by the school's doctor. And the running joke was there, hey, don't go in there if you have a cold. He'll ask you to take your pants down. Because he would just fondle the male members of whatever team it was. There's actually a case going on right now where they're getting sued. I believe his name is being mentioned. And there's some people on the wrestling team that said, which he was the assistant coach, that said, yeah, we told him about it. He said he just fluffed it off and said, like, that piece of shit better not try it with me. And it's like, well, no, he's trying it with like 17, 18, and 19-year-old kids. He's not trying it. He's doing it. What are you going to do to help? And he did nothing. He stayed quiet about it. And anyway, so we'll see who they want. Do you have any idea who they're going to want to name Speaker of the House?
Not really. I'm kind of just kind of confused about like what's going on. I don't understand the process, and I just think it was just a relief of it was just kind of humorous, lighthearted news because it's like they're all talking shit about McCarthy or it's all the nutty. I know they're all pretty fucked up, but like the super hardcore nut jobs, the terrorists and the Republican Party, they're just wreaking havoc. And then what's funny is Lauren Boebert got busted for and this is related because the government shutdown, but she was busted kissing ass, like, yeah, I should have got my bills done before, but we need them done now, pushing it through, and the Democrats are just like, you guys are fucking losers, man, and Kevin McCarthy, man, I mean, it's like, what do you expect? Like, that guy's, I don't know what his end goal is or what his major thing is, but it's just like, he can't please anybody, and I just think it's funny that they're all fighting amongst each other, and it's like, they're not getting anything done, and it's just showing in this time of need. They're just like, and then you're gonna, all this shit's gonna get shut down. Do you know the update of what's going on with that? That's still happening, right? Or
yeah, and what's going on is supposedly they can't. They're so befuddled by this. They're going against each other. There's the pro Kevin McCarthy people that are pissed off at the anti Kevin McCarthy people. I think it was Newt Gingrich came out. I know he's not currently part of the House of Representatives, Remember, he came out and said it was treasonous for the Republicans to go against McCarthy and Kevin McCarthy. Some of them want to put him back in, or saying, like, let's just put him back in. And then McCarthy's like, I'm not going to do it if people put me back in. Now, of course, you know why Trump was basically saying to the Republicans, you better shut down the government, because if they shut down the government cases against him in court will be put on pause until the government reconvenes. So anyway, I don't know. I guess it's part 3 of the shit show, right? Number 1 was the war. Number 2 is all this Trump bullshit. 3 is the Speaker of the House. The Republicans are just in disarray. They're a joke. How about this? Let's move on from politics. If we've kind of politicsed out here, I don't have too much as far as what's going on in the news as far as entertainment. The only thing I saw is that there's always a few things to talk about, but Mary Lou Retton, I guess, is on ICU, who won a bunch of
actress?
She's actually a gold medal gymnastics winner from the 1984 Olympics for the United States. She was on the Wheaties box, and she's done all kinds. She was like America's sweetheart. After the 84 Olympics, by the way, to date, is the only Olympics basically that I paid any attention to. For some reason, I saw the skiing, I saw the Winter Olympics for the skiing and the ice skating.
Huge.
Katarina DeWitt, and I saw the summertime one, and I believe Greg Louganis was in the diving, and there was some other guy named Kimball who was a diver, and there was Edwin Moses, and there was Carl Lewis, and there were so many different great athletes and characters in that, and I remember it fondly. The only one I remember really since then is who's that other swimmer, the more recent guy that was a bong smoker and a drinker and driver.
Phelps, Michael Phelps.
Yeah, big, super tall. He's like 6'6" or something.
Yeah.
Anyway, have you seen anything in the news that's noteworthy?
So The Rock, after his whole Maui bullshit, I think I saw Paramount dumped him. He's not gonna be in any further movies and in DC movies, and he fucked that up anyway. Oprah, it comes to find out she was, after her backlash for being a piece of shit, like she does this interview and says that people need to be happier, and it's like, you've got to be kidding me. Jason Momoa was, when that was all happening, was like, I'm just sickened by this. I think it who fucking cares about Oprah? She's, but with The Rock, it's like, dude, it doesn't pay to sell out Hawaiians and the native folk for your own, bullshit. It would have been more noble if you would have just gone in and helped out and pulled the Sean Penn and been like in the stretches, or in the thick of it, and helping people out, donating money, and part of the whole recovery process. But yeah, it's chill. No sexual assaults, allegations this week. Nothing gross, but I'm sure there's something going on. I'm trying to think. We haven't spoken in a while, and so I think the writer strike is over, but the actor strike's still going on. So you'll see, like, late night is back, which is nice. Let's see. So that's a good thing. I'm happy about that. I don't know. I can't think of anything at the moment.
I can't think of anything, any movies or any scandals or.
Nothing.
It was kind of quieted down with what we talked about last time with, like, Jimmy Fallon. Nothing else is going to come out about that.
Oh, wait. I remember, sorry. Drew Barrymore, now her writers aren't going to go back to.
Yes. Remember we talked about that. We're like, well, what if some of these writers don't come back to him or to Bill Maher? By the way, I did see I did watch the Bill Maher episode. Not the whole thing. I saw parts of it, and boy, he's his writers came back, I guess. But he's boy, he lost a lot of the luster that he used to have as far as being a political commentator.
Yeah.
And a lot of what he's lost to, not only is he kind of, in my opinion, just like he's constantly, Democrats, you need to do this or you're fucked. Democrats, quit doing this and that. Quit Democrats.
Right.
Sure, there's improvements can be made, but it's like, it's hard for Democrats to compete against people that are okay with what we talked about earlier, like massive amounts of violence to take over the country and take over elections and all these kind of things. It's hard because Democrats, the constituents hold their political leaders to a certain standard, and the people on the right don't, and it's hard to compete in that environment. But all right, well, it looks like that's going to do it for us for this current episode of the Daily News. I'm not sure what we'll technically title it when we post this, but just a heads up, we're going to have some more political subjects. Maybe we've been mulling around like economic inequality and some different things. We definitely have some more horror movie podcasts as Halloween approaches. We're going to do a 1990s best of horror movies, which anybody that has followed us or basically seen the difference between our podcasts and our YouTube presentations, podcasts basically, some of them don't upload properly to YouTube. We're going to work on that, do parts 1 and 2 if we have more than 10 movies apiece. So for the 1990s, for sure, look for part 1 and part 2. And we're going to do a big, huge Halloween special podcast. We're going to go through everything from 2000 to present, which will finish up Halloween movies, or basically scary movies, horror movies, to make that probably the last podcast we'll do about horror movies. And we have all kinds of podcasts to do about music, punk music, best punk artists of all time, best metal artists of all time. Dirty wanted to put a segment in of who sings better than Beyonce. I guess you are a supreme hater of Beyonce. I'm just kidding. But anyway, look for those topics. If there are any other topics you want us to discuss, please email us, contact us. We'd love to hear from you. On behalf of Dirty Mouth, Morgan, up in Anchorage, Alaska, kicking ass up there, I'm Dylan. No more the Jesus, a.k.a. So my name is Dylan. I'm Chicago.
I'm Dirty Mouth Morgan, officially. So Dirty Mouth Morgan.
Right. I said that, right? Dirty Mouth Morgan. Did I do it properly?
That's okay.
Okay.
This time.
Okay. Well, tune us in next time, guys. Thank you for listening, and we'll talk to you later.
All right.